the class up to 1 o'clock. Why? Because we are going to start a new method, that is a Gauss Seidel method. So before going to start that, first of all, see, I don't know why you people are not responding to the questions raised by me. Okay, but this is not fair. So definitely, you will face difficult situations whenever you are writing the examinations. So this is not speaking hardly, but you please try to think about this also. Online teaching is somewhat difficult than the normal regular classroom teaching. Please, I try to understand the situation. Okay, but still you are in the same situation means I think you don't have future plans, etc., etc. Okay, so subject ఉండిపోయినా మీకేం ప్రాబ్లం లేదని నాకు అర్థమవుతుందండి, but that is completely up to your point. So as far as myself is concerned, I need to focus on the completion of the syllabus. Okay, so number of participants are only 30 out of 75. That means approximately 45 students are absent today. 45. The strength is very poor. I don't know why these people are taking too light about the online attending the online sessions. Okay, so definitely you will face that situation. But as far as our subject is concerned, now today we are going to discuss about the solution methods for load flow problem. See, as we already know that load flow problem is a problem that is used for getting the information regarding the real power, reactive power, and voltage and phase angle at a specific buses. Okay, and these solution, I mean these solutions for this type of problems can be used for extending the power system, future expansion of the power system. Okay, already we have discussed all these topics in the previous classes, but anyway, now I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation here. You just go through this. See, I don't know how many of you are following my classes. I don't know, but this is my responsibility to explain each and everything to you before going to attend the examinations, right? You already in the last class we have discussed about the static load flow equations. So in order to obtain the static load flow equations, already we have taken one system. Now this is the system, and this system is having two buses, ith bus and kth bus, and we have assumed that ith bus voltage is Vi, and kth bus voltage is given as V1, V2, and so on up to Vn. Now yi1, yi2, yin, etc., all those are mutual admittances. And later we have written some algebraic equations by considering the current which is injected into the ith bus. So according to that, already we have seen this generalized expression. Already we have seen this generalized expression, right? Just wait a moment. Now you see here, so this is the generalized expression, but before going to write down this generalized expression, first of all we have assumed some points related to the magnitude and phase angle. Okay, so according to that, already we have taken that Vk as modulus of Vk at an angle of delta k, so Yik at an angle of gamma Ik. So whenever we are going to multiply these two voltage and admittances, obviously you can substitute that phase angles also. And as far as the complex power injected into the ith bus is concerned, the formula which we are going to follow, is SI conjugate. Normally the complex power is equal to S is equal to P plus JQ. This already we know. So in your transmission and distributions, already you know this one. Okay, so S is equal to P plus JQ, where, so this is the generalized expression where S is a complex power, P is a real power, Q is a reactive power, right? See, now if we are considering the conjugate of this one, so obviously you can consider this as VI. Okay, so S is equal to VI. You can consider this also. Suppose if you want to consider the ith bus complex power, here you are going to have these two quantities. Okay, so like this you can also have S conjugate is equal to V conjugate multiplied by, so alternative formula is also going to exist. V conjugate, just wait a moment. See, the complex power expressions is a very important. So according to that complex power, you can have this one V conjugate. So this is the case. So S conjugate is equal to V conjugate multiplied by I, or you can also have this one V conjugate, sorry, V into I conjugate. You can use any of these two expressions. This is either or. So either you have to use this one or you can also use this one. But instead of using the second expression, every time we are going to follow S conjugate is equal to V conjugate multiplied by I. Why? Because the expression for I already we have seen this one. So the expression for I is too complicated or too complex. If you are considering the conjugate of this one, obviously you can change each and every term sign change. So instead of changing each and every term in that particular n number of algebraic equations, simply you can consider the ith bus voltage. So already we know that. So Vi is equal to modulus of Vi at an angle of delta I. Simply you can change if you are going to determine the complex conjugate of this Vi. Okay, so this is magnitude, means obviously the negative becomes also positive. The only change is you can have the negative phase angle. So this one, Vi conjugate is equal to magnitude of Vi multiplied by minus delta I. So instead of changing n number of quantities or n number of parameters in n number of algebraic equations, simply we can consider V conjugate into I. So we are not going to change the expression of I, just we are going to change, or we are going to consider the complex quantity of that Vi. So according to that, I am considering these points here. Now you just go through this. Already we have seen all these things in the last class, but again we are not going to discuss in detail about those expressions. Now you see here, so just now we have talked about that Vi conjugate multiplied by I. So Vi conjugate is modulus of Vi at an angle of minus delta I multiplied by I. So already we have deduced some expression for Ia here. Now you just substitute that Ia expression in this case. Okay, so if you are so now this is the case. So already we know that SI conjugate can be considered as Pi minus J into Qi. So which is equal to sigma k is equal to 1 to n modulus of Vi multiplied by modulus of Vk modulus of Yik at an angle of delta k minus delta I plus gamma Ik. So I think this is also having this is in polar form. See, already you know about the polar form and rectangle form. So Pi plus Jqi, so real part plus imaginary part, obviously you can consider that as a rectangular coordinate. You can also express that rectangular coordinate to polar coordinate by considering the magnitude and phase angle r at an angle theta. So in the RH side you will have r at an angle theta. In LH side you will have the complex coordinate coordinate form. Okay, polar form and coordinate form. So next we are going to convert this particular polar form to rectangular form or coordinate form. Obviously you can later we are going to equate the real parts and imaginary parts on both sides. You will get these two equations. These two equations. Now Pa is equal to this one, Qi is equal to this one. These two are called the static load flow equations. Why? Because now with the use of these two equations we are going to obtain the real power and reactive power at an ith bus. We are not going to talk about the voltage and phase angle. So once if you know these real power and reactive powers, obviously you can able to determine those quantities also. Now this is about the static load flow equations, right? Now the next one is Gauss-Seidel method. Gauss-Seidel method applied to load flow problem, right? Now this is the new topic that we are going to discuss in this particular class. Gauss-Seidel method of Gauss-Seidel method applied to overflow problem. See, once again, I am going to say that load flow is a problem. Load flow is a problem. Please do remember that load flow is a problem. Just wait a moment. Gauss-Seidel method applied to load flow problem. So here in this particular subject, we are going to have 4 computer solution methods for determining the unspecified parameters at each and every bus. Those are Gauss-Seidel method and the Newton-Raphson method, decoupled and fast decoupled load flow solutions. So these are the topics that have been included in your syllabus. So that's why we are going to focus on these methods of determining the load flow solutions, right? Now, Gauss-Seidel method is a iterative method. See, I'm not going to say that these are exact methods. Or compute, whenever we are dealing with the computer programs, all those computer methods are iterative methods. Iterative methods. Why we are using that? Why? Because at one iteration we are not going to get the value. So definitely we need to go for another iteration. After that, another iteration. After that, another iteration. So this may continuous process until to get the finalized solution. Okay. Now we are going to see how to follow the Gauss or how to apply this Gauss-Seidel method to determine the voltages at a specific ith bus. Right. Right. Now you see here. So as we already know that, just wait a moment. So as we already know that S is equal to Si is equal to Pi plus JQi. This already we know. Now this can be considered as Vi I conjugate, Vi multiplied by I conjugate. Okay. Now later this can be considered as Si conjugate, which is equals to Vi conjugate Vi conjugate multiplied by I suffix suffix I. Now you can have this as Pi minus JQi. Now let us derive what is Pi minus JQi, which is equals to, so here Vi conjugate already we have Vi conjugate multiplied by sigma k is equal to 1 to n See, whenever you are unable to see the content or unable to see the content that I am going to present, or if you are unable to listen my voice, you just raise your hand or you just put a small message in the chat box. Okay. See, from today onwards, I won't waste my time for the people to get joined. So if the class contains only 5 members or 10 members, definitely I will teach the content. I will deliver the content. I won't wait for the anyone to respond, right? So YIK into VK. See why I am doing instead of showing these equations. Why? Because these are very, very important. Suppose in your university question papers, explain about the Gauss-Seidel method is applied to load flow problem, means you should explain each and every point. First of all, you have to derive the static load flow conditions. Sometimes say there may be a chance of getting these questions for theory questions. How do you find the ith bus voltage by using Gauss-Seidel method? You have to explain. See, you are not going to understand if I am showing you the equations that already written on somewhere else, right? So that's why, for your sake only, I'm going to write down, even though the class is waste. Okay. So for I is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. up to n. Okay. Now you see here, by using the above expression, I am going to separate the mutual admittances and self admittances. Now you people have sufficient knowledge regarding the mutual admittance, self admittance. Suppose from k is equal to 1 to n, at some point k may be equals to I. So in that particular case, if you substitute k is equal to I here, you will get YII multiplied by VI. Okay. Only so you are only getting that self admittance at one instant of time. So that's why if I am going to separate the self admittances and mutual admittances, so the problem has been solved completely. Right? Now you see here how I am going to separate the self admittances and mutual admittances here. So this you can have VA conjugate. Now this will be equals to YII into VI. That means in this particular square box, if I have chosen k is equal to I, okay, if I have chosen k is equal to I, obviously you will get YII, nothing but self admittance which is connected to the ith bus. So accept that obviously the remaining admittances are mutual admittances. So multiplied by VI, so that I have taken outside, right? Now plus VI conjugate multiplied by sigma k is equal to 1 to n, but that should not be equal to I. Why? Because already we have separated the ith term. So the remaining are as it is. So YIK into VK. YIK into VK. So for I is also varying from 1 to n. So from the above expression, the voltage at ith bus, where Pi and Qi are specified. That means, suppose if we want to know the voltage to be determined at ith bus, and definitely you must have some information regarding the real power and reactive power. So without knowing, see, at each and every bus, there are two parameters that are specified. Already you know this point very well. Why? Because we have seen that slack bus or swing bus are, so buses are classified into three categories. Slack bus, swing bus, or reference bus, the first one. So where V and delta are to be determined, specified. So P and Q are to be identified. And for the voltage control bus, generator bus is also available. So at each and every bus, you are having the information regarding two parameters. Now in this particular case also, if we want to determine the ith bus voltage, definitely you must have the information regarding pi and jqi. So if we know the information, how can we obtain the ith bus voltage? That is a very important point to be remembered, right? Now see here. Now this I am going to write down it as vi into yii plus sigma k is equal to 1 to n, k is equal to 1 to n, but that should not be equal to I. Yik into vk is equal to, here I am writing it as pi minus jqi, pi minus jqi divided by vi conjugate. So just I am taking the VI conjugate and VA conjugate as common from these two terms. I can take this VI to the denominator of left hand side. So obviously you will get PI minus JQI divided by VI conjugate. Now, if I want to obtain VI, ith bus voltage, so how can we obtain ith bus voltage? Now finally I am going to write down the expression for ith bus voltage. Please take a look at this. So VI, see how I am going to write down the expression for this one. Vi is equal to 1 by yii multiplied by whole multiplied by pi minus jqi divided by vi conjugate minus sigma k is equal to 1 to n and not equal to I, 1 to n yik into vk, right? So this is the finalized expression for determining the ith bus voltage, okay? Once if we know the real power and reactive power at ith bus, so where I is also varying from 1 to n, this is also to be mentioned. So 1 2 3 etc up to n. So please make a note. So this is your finalized expression. This is your finalized expression. Please make a note. So put this in a square box so that you will know how to determine the ith bus. See, this is the expression you need to remember throughout this subject, throughout this semester also. So whenever you are going to attempt the problems or the questions from this load flow analysis, definitely you must remember each and every expression along with the flowchart and algorithm. So whenever I am going to use that this is a computer algorithm or computer programming method, means that that is having algorithm as well as flowchart also. Okay. See, I will give you the material regarding the algorithm on flowchart. So definitely please do practice. Why? Because definitely you may get the explanation for algorithm and flowchart for either Norton-Raphson method or Gauss-Seidel method. So based on your fate, definitely you will get one theory question if you want to give the theory question from this load flow solutions. So that is the importance of this one. Okay. Now this is the ith bus voltage that we are going to deduce from the static load flow equations. Now, see, in this particular method, we assume all voltages except the slack bus. That means, suppose if your system is having n number of buses, so definitely you must consider one bus as a slack bus or swing bus or reference bus. And for that bus, obviously the voltage and phase angle are specified. You need not determine the voltage and phase angle for the slack bus. Why? Because the slack bus voltage is always 1 per unit at an angle of 0 degrees. That already we have discussed about the classification of the buses. So except the slack buses, you are asked to determine the voltages and phase angle for the remaining buses. Okay, so that's why in this particular method we assume all voltages except the slack bus where the voltage and phase angles are specified, and for the remaining buses we have to set the voltage magnitude and phase angles of the slack bus. Suppose if you are not know the let us extend this particular analysis how we are going to solve the problems once if you want to determine the ith bus voltage. Okay, suppose I think one doubt that is going to arise in your mind that sir, uh, basically you are saying that this is a computer iterative method, and initially we don't know how many iterations it may takes. But what is the solution? How can we obtain the accurate solution with the use of this one? So that's why you are also having one important point here. Okay, so now you see here C plus 1. This is the magnitude. Sorry, magnitude of vi to the power of c plus 1 and vi to the power of c must be less than or equal to epsilon. So until this particular that means what do you call that condition is acceptable, up to that the iteration count will be move on. Suppose now what is c here? So c is nothing but iteration count. C is nothing but iterative count. Iteration count. Okay, suppose if iteration counts c is equal to 0, so what do we have? So vi to the power of 1 minus vi to the power of 0. So this is the initial ith bus voltage, and by using that initial ith bus voltage we are going to obtain the first iteration. So vi to the power of 1 is nothing but ith bus voltage at the end of first iteration. So if you take the difference between the first iteration voltage value and the initial value, obviously you must compare that epsilon. Okay, so obviously epsilon should be e should be equal to 0.0000 sorry 1 triple 0001. Okay, so until when the difference should not be equal to this one, obviously the count will be increased, iterative count will be increased. So iteration will be stopped when this particular condition is going to be satisfied by the particular method or particular system. Okay, so this is the important necessary and sufficient condition for having the uh, having finalized that particular iteration count. Please note down this also. Okay, right. Now, let us analyze this particular Gauss-Seidel method by considering a four-bus system. A four-bus system, how do we determine the uh, second bus voltage, third bus voltage, fourth bus voltage? Why? Because I'm not going to talk about the first bus voltage. Why? Because the first bus voltage is already the slack bus or swing bus voltage, right? Just wait a moment. Please note down all these things. See, I'm not going to thinking the wastage of class. Okay, even though it may take some time, obviously you please practice along with me so that you will get some uh, idea how to solve these problems if you are going to get have this in your university question papers, right? Now just say I have not erased this the last one. Why? Because this is important. Now you see here, see I am typing some text here for a 4 bus system. Okay. Now, please, all of you take a look at this. For a 4-bus system, see, I have this is just for only for understanding, not for anything else. This is not a problem. Just to understand how we are going to obtain the second bus voltage, third bus voltage, and fourth bus voltage. See, initially I have taken 4-bus system. That means n is equal to 4, right? Initially I have taken n are a 4-bus system. Okay. Now, later he has given that swing bus is designated as 1. Computation starts with the bus number 2. That means indirectly he is saying that initially consider I is equal to 2. Why? Because I is equal to, if I is equal to 1, that is considered, treated as a swing bus or slack bus. Obviously the voltage and the phase angle are specified. You need not determine again. Okay. Now we are going to compute the solution just by taking I is equal to 2 onward. So I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4. That means indirectly we are going to determine the second bus voltage, third bus voltage, and fourth bus voltage. Right? Now, what is K? K is equal to, K should not be, see, this is the first one. Step number 1. So n is equal to 4, I is equal to 2. I am considering K should not be equal to I. Why? Because already we have separated the self admittances and mutual admittances concept. So that's why I have not again considered that I is equal to 2 here. So K is equal to 1, 3, and 4. So using these, I am going to determine the second bus voltage. So this is V21, which is equals to 1 by, see, compare the generalized expression and the expression that now I am going to write down here. So V2 dash is equal to 1 by Y22 multiplied by P2 minus JQ2 divided by so you just forget about this, otherwise you will get some confusion here. So this is equal to V2 conjugate minus, now K is equal to 1. So obviously if you are considering K is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, what you will get? Y21 into V1 plus Y22. Why? Because already Y22 gets separated, so you don't worry about that one. So Y23 V3 plus Y24 V4. So V2 is equal to 1 by Y22 multiplied by P2 minus JQ2 divided by V2 conjugate minus Y21 V1 plus Y23 V3 plus Y24 V4. Okay, so these are very, very important. Suppose now this is the case 1. Now case 2 is n is equal to 4, I is equal to 3, K is equal to 1, 2, 3, not 3, 1, 2, 4. Why? Because already we have taken I is equal to 3 here. So simply you can have V3 is equal to 1 by Y33 multiplied by P3 minus JQ3 divided by V30 minus Y31 Y31 V1, Y32 V2, Y33, you don't have Y33, Y34 V4, etc. So likewise you are also having the one more equation, that is V4. Okay, but now please take a look at this. This is a very, very important. Now I'm going to explain you. Suppose if you are going to determine the second bus voltage, now see here, if you are going to determine the second bus voltage at the end of first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, etc., etc. Suppose if you are going to determine the second I is equal to second bus voltage at the end of first iteration. Obviously, you will get this one. So V21 represents, that is the voltage at the end of second iteration. Okay. Now this will be considered as, just please go through this. This is a very, very important. This I am going to consider this as V20 conjugate. Why I am taking these values? Why? Because I don't know the value of V2 here. So initially I am considering V20 is equal to V30. These are the initial voltages. So without assuming or without having these assumptions, we cannot able to solve even a single problem in this particular load flow method. So V30, V40 is also equal to 1 per unit. I am not considering V10. Why? Because already V1 is a slack bus voltage. Obviously, that voltage is given by Yn. So all the remaining bus voltages are also equal to here. This is a basic or initial assumption that you must consider. Right? Okay. So V20, V30. So in this case also, I am not considering. So V20 is also equal to 1. Now this is V30 and this is V40. See, so definitely you will get V21. Suppose if we want to move on further, that means V22, obviously you can substitute or you can replace this 0 with 1 and this 1. Okay, sorry. Right. This is also 1. So these points you will get with clarity while we are doing some problems related to this Gauss-Seidel method. Okay. So I think it's time to close up the session. Students, do you have any doubts? Do you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you please raise your doubts, or just we will wind up the session, right? So thank you. Please try to attend the sessions regularly. So I'm requesting each and every one of you. This is not fair. See, already the strength is only 25. Out of 75, only 25 students have been attended. So you will face a lot of situations later.